What is up? What is up, guys? Happy Monday. And um guys, I'll say it every single time. I'm going to unplug these are driving me crazy. But I'll say it every single time. Guys, Mondays are about rebuilding the momentum, um setting the tone for the week, right? So, oh, biggest thing is always just showing up and doing the things you know you need to do, and even going above and beyond, especially on Mondays, guys. Um, as it is, my morning routine normally looks like waking up around 6:30 in the morning, 25 minutes of cardio as soon as I wake up. Well, wake up, have my coffee, hop on the treadmill, 25 minutes of cardio. I try to work in the sauna for probably 15-20 minutes. Like, I try to get that in if I have time because it is somewhat time consuming. And then cold plunge for 3 minutes and 10 seconds every single day. Um, the biggest thing with that is like, it just, the cold plunge is the worst part of the day. Like that, it never gets better. So for me, like, I know that I need to do those things, and I know mentally that I need to overcome all of those barriers in order to get here to work. First thing I do on Mondays is always hop on this podcast, make sure we are addressing everything that we need to do in order to have a good, productive week. So, um, with that being said, guys, that's what it's all about. Just breaking through those mental barriers. And it's interesting because it's the it's always good to rest on Saturday and Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, it's always good to give yourself those days to chill out, and the week gets very, very, especially for me, like, the week is very what's the word? Like, you're just releasing so much energy, putting out so much energy, both through work and physically if you're lifting every single week. So it is nice to take those days and just recover, and you have to give yourself that. But with that being said, life is about the ups and downs. So if you can be down for 2 days, relax, let your body recover and stuff, and then come back Monday and just be like 100%, that's the perfect scenario. And just do that over and over. Um, and I've kind of found balance with that over the last few years. I feel like when I was younger, it was just like I'd just push and push and push and like never really truly recover. But the problem is, like, that shows up when you come to work on Monday. You know what I mean? Um, so kind of the mindset going into the weekend is like, what do I need to do in order to rest, relax, and, like, you know what I mean? Truly just recover overall, both mentally and physically. Um, so that needs to always be the mindset going into the weekend. But with that being said, like, that can't be an overly, like, like, it's super easy to always get into that mindset of like, oh, I'm tired, so I need to rest. But the reality is, a lot of the time when you're tired, it's just like, it's just in your head. You know what I mean? So I found the perfect balance is like, if you can grind for 5, maybe 6 days a week and relax and rest for that one or two, for me at least, that's worked out really, really well. Anyways, this last weekend we were out in Utah. So we were out in Utah. We had a bodybuilding show out there, the Utah Natural Show, which was super cool because Sovereign Lifestyle sponsored that show. On top of that, we ran a booth. We brought 3 trainers total and then 3 athletes into the show. It was super sick. We ended up winning the entire show, which was like best case scenario. One of our guys won the overall in men's physique. And other than that, we won the trainer award, which was super, super cool. More than anything, it was just like super rewarding to see things starting to come to fruition. It's been it's been a ride. Like, and if you guys have paid attention to any of my podcasts before this and like heard the story of Sovereign Lifestyle, like it's wild to see it start to come to fruition the way that it has. And I've thought about that a lot this week or these last few days. And like, I don't know, it just kind of hit me. And it's like super humbling because now we're seeing people very, very bought into the idea of what Sovereign is, you know, and we're, as management, the biggest goal over the next like 3 months is just getting incredibly clear on what the Sovereign Lifestyle vision is, what each of our individual visions are, where do we overlap, like where do our visions overlap, and where exactly are we going with this? Because now people are buying in, you know, like we're seeing people believing in the program and doing, and you know, giving it their all, and like actually coming out and succeeding in a really big way. So with that being said, as you continue to grow and as you continue to see success, it's not the things that got you from point A to point B aren't going to get you to point C and point D and point E. So I spent a lot of time just kind of sitting and meditating and kind of trying to figure out what exactly it is that's going to help take us to that point C, point D, you know, what's going to take us to the next level. And the biggest thing is just clarity, right? Clarity for where Sovereign Lifestyle is going, clarity in where our visions overlap as management and as coaches, and clarity with everybody who's buying into the program. Why are they here? You know, where are we going? Like, what's the end goal, you know? And I think starting with the end in mind is extremely important in anything that you do. And that's why I'm here, guys. Yeah, I've worked a lot of jobs. I've done a lot to make money and stuff in the past. And the crazy part is like, whenever I make a little bit of money, I start to ask myself, like, is this the impact that I want to make on the world? Even if I make money, you know? And the majority of the time, the answer has been no. And that's what's led me to be here, is like, this is something that I think it's been harder of a process to get up and rolling and like making money and make it profitable. But at the same time, when I asked myself, like, what is it that I want to be known for? Or what is it that, like, when I'm on my deathbed and I look back and it's like, well, what's the thing you did with your life? You know, what's the impact you made? What are people going to remember you for? And for me, it's like, the simple answer is, I want to change lives the way that my life was changed, right? And that's through fitness. That's through bodybuilding. You know, I gain a lot of confidence through this. And like, even in the times when my mental health wasn't right, or even in the times when life was hard, for me, it was always going back to bodybuilding. And no matter how hard things got, I could always show up and hope to become better. And all in all, like, that's bled into every other, excuse me. All in all, that's bled into every other aspect of my life. So it's really cool to see it start to come to fruition and start to see that happening for other people, you know? But yeah, like, for me, I started this with the end in mind. Like, I knew the journey was going to be hard. I knew I'd have a lot of hate and a lot of doubt and a lot of those days where things just didn't work out. But the reality is, like, if you can just get over that hump and get to a place where you have other people buying into the vision, and you have people succeeding with, you know, within the program and stuff, then it just validates everything. You know what I mean? Like, that was the crazy part, is like, this weekend when I saw our people competing, we had 3 guys competing, and it was just crazy to me because I was just sitting there and like watching them with their families after the show, and they were taking pictures, flexing, and, you know, all the stuff with their families, their moms, dads, siblings and stuff. And I was just like, this is what it's all about. giving those people that feeling of accomplishment that they went in and, they showed up through all the doubt and all the hardship that they faced along the way. And I don't know, that in itself is like incredibly rewarding, So I was just sitting back with Blake at our booth, and I was watching people like take pictures and stuff, and I was just like, this is it. It's so much more rewarding to watch and like, help people through the process. I love competing, and I will continue to compete because I want to push myself to the next level. But yeah, it's just super cool to see, to like give that to other people as well. So anyways, starting with the end in mind, guys, I think that's going to be, I always go into this with no idea what I'm going to talk about, but I think that's the moral of this podcast is like, if you can start anything with the end in mind, then what would you do? Right? And you have to ask yourself that. And I've said it before. I always say, like, if somebody was to give me $1 billion, like if I had $1 billion in my bank tomorrow and everything was perfect and like I didn't have to worry, like I would still do the same thing that I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Like, this is the impact that I want to make, whether I make nothing or I make $1 million or I make $1 billion. It doesn't really matter. This is like when you think of Ikigai, if you guys have ever heard of that. This is my thing, and I think this weekend really just validated that, like, hey, like I can bring happiness to people through discipline, and it's just crazy, It just kind of validates all of the hardship that I had to go through in order to get here and like be this type of person for them. So yeah, it's cool. But if there's any advice that I could give, it's just always start with the end in mind, right? Too many people go into this, and this is the difference between confusion and scarcity versus law and abundance. So, and this is a part of my my personal mission statement is I will always operate from a space of law and abundance, never confusion and scarcity. And that's something that I always stick to. And when things get hard, I always recite it. But law and abundance is just being in accordance with the laws of the universe. Because the reality is, when you are in accordance with the laws of the universe, then anything's possible. That like brings you back to that natural state of like being, And when you're able to do that and you just continuously show up and be year over year, that's what brings dreams to fruition, and that's what changes the world. Whereas confusion and scarcity, right? Confusion is just not understanding or being in accordance with the laws of the universe. So with that being said, scarcity comes from that, right? Because you don't understand the laws of the universe. You don't, like, it's more of you doubting yourself or you being afraid or whatever the thing is in order to take that next step. Like, you're just confused. You know what I mean? And it's super easy to get shifted into that mindset. But the reality is, like, that's what they try to keep you there. The man, like the person running things, tries to keep you there because they want you to continue coming back. And it's not to say that the people in power are evil or the people in power want bad for us, but the reality is, like, at some point you have to be self-sufficient. And that's one thing that I've learned over the years is, like, if I can outwork anyone and if I can outwork and outbelieve anyone, then it brings a level of self-sufficiency where I can be in control to some extent. And That's the biggest thing is like, I just want to, I always want to lead with that law and abundance, or that and in accordance with law and abundance, knowing the universe is going to do what it's going to do, and accepting that, right? It's simple. Like, it's seriously is like, you get what you give, right? So if you can take that and just be like, hey, well, I only get what I give, so I'm going to give over and over and over and over, and eventually things will work out. Just focus on giving, you know. And there are seasons, like it's seasons for everything, and the universe also will test you a lot. Just because there are a lot of people who try to fake things. There are a lot of people who hate themselves into success, right? And it just doesn't work long term. If you hate the process, the majority of the time you're going to hate where you end up. So, with that being said, you have to fall in love with the process and continuously show up every day, regardless of the outcome. And with time, the outcome will come, or the outcome that you want will come. So, you just have to remember that. And for me, it's kind of changed to be more of like it's a motivator when I go through hard things. Because the thing is like, I always tell myself, yeah, this sucks. It's hard. I don't know what I'm going to do, but this is where everybody else would fall off. So if I just keep going, then that gives me the upper hand, and if you can switch that mindset to like, oh man, this is hard, to, yeah, this would weed out everybody else, but not me, and just keep going, then eventually with time, you're top of the game. So you just got to remember that when things get hard, because yeah, like being self-sufficient is hard, guys. Like it's tough. And I was telling one of my competitors this, because he was talking to me about being a coach, and I'm like, well, you have to realize like you're free, and with that being said, like you can either make a whole bunch of money and like be good and be chilling and be self-sufficient, or like if you're not making money and you are self-employed, there's only one person to blame. Like you can't blame anyone else. And if you do, like, then you're screwed, like things have to change. If things aren't going your way, like they have to change. And that's the only thing. And you have to find, like, you always have to look within yourself and see like, what is it that's going to get me to where I want to be? And that's exactly what we did with Sovereign Lifestyle. Is like, I took a few hours and just meditated, prayed, like just did whatever I could in order to find answers. And it was like, okay, well, we had a good month. August was a great month for us, but what's going to keep us going? Like, what's the next level for Sovereign Lifestyle, right? And the one word I got was clarity, right? Clarity with our vision, clarity with our clarity with the sovereign vision, clarity with our management, with our individual missions, or visions. Where do we overlap? And clarity with our clients. What are we giving them? What does that look like? And knowing that every single person who comes through our system is able to 100% buy into the bigger picture, the vision. And so with that being said, like, you just always have to remember, like, the thing that got you from A to B isn't going to get you from B to C. So it always changes. And you constantly have to be questioning yourself and figuring out, like, what is it that's going to take you to that next step. But anyways, guys, that's the thought of the day. I've got lots of calls, so I'm going to go hop on those. As always, thank you so much for sticking around. If you're here, you're a real one. Definitely follow, like, do all the stuff for the algorithm, and we will catch you on the next one. We'll see you guys.